What's going on, everybody? It's 563 Gaming, and welcome back to Satisfactory. So, in today's episode, we're finally going to get to creating that factory floor I've been talking about the last couple episodes. So, what I've done in the off-camera time here is not much has changed out here. There's our power plant that we've got rolling. But I have built up to a level that I felt comfortable with. And we're going to go ahead and start building out from here. I'm going to go ahead and take a look around here. So I just, because we don't have very much in the way of different building materials yet, I was kind of just forced to make this monstrosity looking thing. It ain't pretty, and that's okay. So, yes, it's floating. Yes, there's no structural support. Yes, it doesn't look realistic. It's okay. It's early game. Eventually, as we expand this out and everything, I'll be able to put in walls and windows and various things, different floors for different things. But we're just getting started, right? I mean, it's early game. So, I built this ugly looking thing so we could start building up top. Because this is eventually going to become the Mega Factory. Alright, so what we're going to do now is, obviously, from what you can see, I've moved the hub and the equipment workshop up here. Eventually, I've expanded the platform a little bit because we're going to build a MAM. Which we'll get to in another episode. We'll talk all about the MAM and upgrades and slugs and all sorts of stuff. That's not the focus for today. Today, the focus is going to be turning all of this messy looking stuff into something a little bit more organized. And so anyway, yeah, today we're going to be working on getting this mess organized up onto a factory floor, optimized, and everything running smoothly. Because right now, we are not running efficiently at all. I just threw this all down out there in that first episode just so we get these materials going. So and I am going to leave this stuff running while I'm building all this because, well, it's producing materials, and those materials we're going to need to build all the stuff up here. So that's going to continue running in the background. I will delete it. Probably towards the end of the episode after we've got the actual factory floor set up. So without further ado, no more yakking from me. Let's get going. Okay, so I've built out our basic factory floor for just, first set of machines coming in. I probably overbuilt it a little bit, but not really. But we'll get to building. I'll explain. But I will explain why here in just a moment. So, as of right now, we have 6 iron nodes in this area. So we've got the 3 here, we've got 2 more on this side, 1 on the back side over here, and then we've got the 2 copper nodes that we're working with right here. Okay, and then we are gonna, and then we also have 2 limestone nodes. limestone nodes over there. So we're going to be bringing all that limestone, all this iron, and all this copper up to this floor where it's going to be then smelted and constructed and everything else. So we're not going to have any structures down there on the ground except for our miners. And then we're just going to have a long string of belts coming to this floor, you know, because everything's kind of spread out. I'm trying to bring all the raw materials into one location, and then we're going to build it from there. So I've built out this particular floor 16 wide. Why 16? Well, because we have 8 different nodes that we're going to be pumping, that we're going to need smelters for. Okay, so the concrete we're going to get to in a little bit. I'm going to let that run in the background. I'm going to build like a little separate section over here for the concrete, because concrete doesn't, the limestone does not need to be smelted. It goes right into constructors, and that's kind of its own thing over here. But as far as the actual metal materials go, we're going to need 16 smelters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out the factory, and then I'm going to, I'm going to lay out the factory, and then once I've got all the factory components put into place, then we're going to work on bringing all the materials up to the factory, as well as getting power hooked up and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, kind of sort of in the middle, and I'm going to build one of those towers. Now, these work great when you're building out these factories like this. That's fine. Because it gets, you know, gives you height, so you can kind of look down and see what you're doing. So we got this. Now, the vast majority of our nodes are on this side. We've only got the 2 over here. So I'm going to place all my smelters in a line down this way, and then we'll just bring the materials up and around, and then up using the lift belts. So let's get this going. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab smelters. And we want the inputs on this side. And I'm going to leave a little bit of room. So these take up, they're only, so let's go, set these back to where they're right about there. Perfect. Again, I'm gonna hold control. Now I could put these like smack right up against each other, and that's probably the more efficient way to do it. But I like to spread them out a little bit, just because it looks better, and then we've got the room. So right about there. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that should be 16. You can put these right smack next to each other and run manifold systems and all that, but I'm going to do it a little bit more direct. Instead of running just a big giant manifold system down and everything like that. So our first 4 are going to be for copper, and we can repaint these in the future. I haven't unlocked that tier yet in the hub. And let me know down in the comments, do you guys want to see me unlock each tier? I mean, it's just resource gathering. I can show you what the tiers are towards the end of the episode, and then just kind of do all the unlocking off camera. That's how I'm going to do it today, but if you'd rather watch every little bit of everything, yeah, let me know down in the comments. So yeah, so I left a little bit of room here because essentially I want this to kind of be a walkway where I can walk around the factory at a later date. So eventually we'll be able to punch all our materials up from a floor that I'm going to build below. We'll have all of our materials going into a logistics floor right below this one, and everything will get pumped up through lifts, through holes in the floor, into a lift, into here, and then it'll get punched back down, and it'll look a lot cleaner. We don't have access to that stuff right now, so, you know, right now we're going to have some belts just coming in over the top, but I promise you it'll look better in the future. We're just not there yet. So that being said, we are going to go ahead and build out. Let's see. Nice and straight. About right there. And that's going to allow us to run a lift off of that and down, and then we can run belts to that lift. So I want them right to the edge so I can see them, and we can get the lift belts going. Okay, so we're going to do it a little differently because I forgot. But each of these is going to be fed by one miner. So one miner pumps out 60 materials because these are all normal nodes. If they were the lower tier node, the inferior, I forget what that's called, but the lower tier node would give us 30, but instead we have normal nodes, which gives us 60. Each of these smelters can only handle 30 per minute. So in order to get full use of our 60 materials coming in, we need 2 smelters per node. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab a splitter. We want our input coming in from here. And I'm going to go here. And then every other one of these is going to get a splitter. So I'm going to put all those in, and then I'm going to run the belts to the edge off the splitter, and then connect these like so. So each one of these is going to get a belt going into here. I have a belt coming out right in the middle, right to there. And then this belt is going to go into there. So one material will feed into these 2 machines. I'm going to repeat this process all the way down the line, and I'll catch up with you guys when we get to the next step. Okay, so we're back. Everything's built. I've gone through and put all the belts and splitters and everything into all of these machines. These are all our smelters. Now we got to get to constructors. So we're going to configure these for iron ingots. And I'm going to go down through and copy all these. So these are all set up to get smelting as soon as we run belts into them and get power onto them. So we'll start down here at the iron end of things. So each one of these is going to punch out 30 iron ingots per minute. They each take in 30 and they punch out 30. So 1-to-1 ratio. So now we're going to step back a little bit. And I'm going to, again, leave a little bit of room in between these machines because eventually I can punch these down into a floor below, hide the belt, and punch them back up. So we're going to leave a little bit of room. So then we're going to grab a constructor, flip it, hit control so it lines up. And I want it right about there. Okay. Now, if we're going to set this up for plates, this is going to take in 30 plates per minute. It's going to punch out, 30 ingots per minute and punch out 20 plates per minute. Okay, so, and we have a grand total of 12 smelters just for iron goods. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up another constructor here. And let's get everything lined up. Like so. So we're going to do iron plates on this one as well. Okay. And then I'm just going to repeat this process for these next 2. So because I have 12 smelters punching out iron, I'm going to do, and we're going to have 3 different iron products being made by these this particular setup. So we need, here, I'll even look at, look in here to show you. So these are our 3 iron products at the very beginning that we're going to need to make. So we're going to have 4 machines making plates, 4 machines making rods. Well, we're actually going to have 8 machines making rods, but that's because rods are then used to make screws. So we're going to do 4 for plates, 8 for rods, but the last 4 of the rod machines are then going to, rod constructors are then going to feed into 4 more constructors for the screws. And then that's what we're going to set up today, just our basic manufacturing. All of these things are going to be needed to use in other parts down the line, but those will be in another episode. We're just setting up the basic automated, factory. We're setting up the basic factory for the basic goods, and I want it completely optimized. So that's what we're doing today. All right, so I'm going to go down through and I'm going to set up all the machines, and I'll just kind of go give you an overview of what this does, and then we'll go work on the copper stuff after that. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back. I've got everything built out and set up. So what I've done here, and I had to do a little bit of work because when I was going down through and checking out everything, I remembered and realized that when I was setting up these constructors for wire, that each of these constructors takes, when you're doing copper wire, only 15 in and then punches 30 wire out. So that means with 30 coming out of these, I needed 2 constructors per smelter. So I extended out our platform a little bit, added in all the constructors we needed, and spread out our last 4 smelters. So that way we could, put all the proper components into the machines that we needed. So that is going to be the first stage of this factory. Done. We've got all our smelters completely set up. And then we've got the first 4 constructors making iron plates. The next 4 constructors making iron rods. The next 4 constructors also making iron rods. And then everything else down this way is making wire. Copper wire. So now we're going to set up the next phase because we need to also make cable. And we need to make screws. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to set up the first little bit of it, and then I'll probably just time lapse the rest of it. And then we'll set up some storage, and our factory floor for the first part of this is going to be done. Okay, so starting with the copper. We're going to go here. See, we get 30 copper out per minute. So again, I'm going to leave some space. So floor hole will eventually be here, another one here. So I'm going to put the next set of constructors kind of back this way some. So we're going to grab this. We're going to go grab a constructor, back it up just a little bit, and put it right there. All right. Now we want cable. So it's going to take in 60 wire per minute and give us 30 cable. So that means with 30 coming out of each of these 2 machines are going to feed into this one. Right? So we're going to skip a foundation because this is a great grid to use because these machines all kind of fit in that 1x1 grid. Maybe a little longer, but like width-wise, they're one grid piece wide. So we're going to grab that, and then we're going to grab a constructor. And we're going to go right. Let's grab this. There. All right. So now these 4 machines. So these 2 will feed that one. These 2 will feed that one. And those are going to make our cable. The other 4 machines that we have are just going to make straight just wire. So we have both products. Now, I'm eventually going to have to expand this, because there's other materials that we're going to need to make. But for now, we're just going to put in some storage and store these materials. And then we can always take that stuff out of storage, move the storage out, and then add more machines later to build up the factory. But for now, we're going to grab our organization. We're going to grab a storage container. Now, there's going to be a lot of wire pumping out over here. So I'm going to have, let's see, we've got these two feeding in there, these two feeding in there. So starting here, we got these 4 machines that are all going to feed into a couple of storage units. So let's go like here. And then I'm going to put 2 on there. I'm going to double them up. That one there. Oh. Square them up. And doubled up. All right. So what that's going to allow us to do is we're going to go ahead and take our belts. So we know that these 2 machines are going to feed into this. So what we're going to do is instead of a splitter this time, we're going to use a merger. And we want the output going into the machine. And we're going to put it right about there. I'm going to grab our boom, boom, and boom. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And then, and I'll do that off, camera here in a second. I'll just feed these 2 machines into there just like we did that one. Then over here, we're going to want to do another merger. Let's see. The yellow just means it's clipping, but I don't like clipping, so we're going to do that. And we're going to set up another one here. And then grab our belts. Again, these 2 machines. So this machine here is going to feed into this merger here. This machine here is going to feed into that merger. Into that one. And into there. No, that didn't turn out right. I need this into there. That into there. My phone keeps going off, so I'll be right back. So that's our copper pretty much set up. So, and then to double up our storage, we're going to grab a lift belt and we're going to turn it, fire it in like that. And that'll automatically just feed in. So, boom, boom. So now it'll fill up both of these storages. So we've just doubled our storage on these particular items because these are going to fill up pretty quick. So I'd rather have double the storage so we just have lots of materials being built up. Okay, so I'm going to do a similar setup over here with these feeding into here. So let's go with a storage container here. I want the input on this side. Let's see. Can we get it about centered? Looks good. Looks good. Okay. Then we're going to grab a merger again. The output there. Boom. And we'll grab our belts. Like so. So all our cable will be feeding in here. Now we need to set up for our screws. So we're going to grab another constructor. I want it right there. And that seems like a good enough placement. yeah, that'll leave us enough room to have a walkway in between later on. So here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to set this up for screws. Screws need 10 iron rods per minute. Okay. So these are going to be pumping out 15 iron rods per minute, which means if we have 4 of them, that's 60. That means we're going to need 6 constructors feeding off of these machines. So 6 constructors with the 60 coming out and 10 going in per minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and go down the line and set up 5 more of these. And these we're going to set up in a manifold style. So what I'm going to do is we'll have them feed down this way. So these 4 machines will feed into one belt that'll come into here and then manifold down. We might actually... Do we have enough room? Let's see. So we're going to go to... We're going to need a merger. I want the output there. No, we don't have... I mean, we do, but that's going to be really tight. And if I need to get into here... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back this up just a little bit. So we're going to grab this. We're going to grab our constructor. And let's just back it up to about there. That way, if I need to get in the middle and to fix anything or, you know, move around, that's perfect. So, then we're going to grab, what was it? Splitter, right? Yeah, splitter. So we want our output coming in there, input there, like so. Okay. Now we need mergers. So I'm going to go down the line with these 4 machines and just merge them all. So we have the output there. All right, so there's the first part of the manifold system set up. All our outputs going into these mergers, which is going to put these all along one big bus line. And then that's going to feed into here and then into a manifold system for the other, for the 6 constructors. So let's get the 6 constructors set up. Oh, I'm running out of reinforced plates. All right, I got to go make some more materials and I'll come back. All right. So we're back. We're completely 100% set up here. So we've got everything set up into different manifold systems going into different storages, other machines. We do need to set up a storage, I do believe, for screws. So I'm going to do screws, 40 per minute. So what I'm going to do here is I am not going to set up storage for screws because screws are basically going to get pumped out and used in almost everything. So like I really don't need to set up a storage for them because we're going to be expanding upon this later. So I'm not going to bother with this. So let's just make sure all set up. And I believe each one of these machines can hold up to like 200, so they will fill up quick, but if you want to set up storage yourself, you can if that's something you want to do. I'm not going to bother with it because I really want to just get this whole operation up and running, and this video is getting kind of long. So, but we do have everything set up as far as I can tell. I think a couple of my smelters need to be reset up because I readjusted that. Yeah, get over there. I believe we are ready So I'm going to meet you guys down here. We're going to start deleting all of our infrastructure down here. And then we're going to run all of our stuff up to all of our machines here. So I will meet you guys down there, and we'll get this thing up and running. I'm going to run power up here. We're going to get everything going. All right, so I am back. Had to do quite a bit of work. But I have all of our resources connected and coming in on these lift belts, running in. The only thing we really have left to do is hook up power. I've hooked up power to all of the miners, so we just got to run power to our machines and then watch them kick up and go get running. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we go. All right, now let's just build a tower here real quick. There's my ladder. There it is. And there we go. So we've got everything up and running. So yeah. So this should be getting us into tier 2. Like I said, I'm probably going to spend the next episode going over the MAM, power slugs, and what that means for use in the factory for optimization purposes. And we'll go through that. We'll probably knock out all of the rest of tier 2 stuff, so that way we can send the ship off, get all of our tier 2 done. So that way we can start working on getting the space elevator built, which will get us to tier 3, and that's where things really start to get interesting. So, but yeah, if you stayed here this long, thanks for watching the whole video. Please, you know, if you could, if you enjoyed yourself, leave a comment, leave a like, you know, engage with the video somehow, and yeah, till next time, have a great day.